Hey everybody, Kevin here. Here's a little something for your performance edge, and it starts with a little bit of a question. Has fear ever held you back? Has there ever been a time where maybe you didn't take action or there was this thing that you wanted to kind of take a risk on and once it started playing in between your ears, fear just kind of took over? I've had tons of conversations this week about fear, and I don't know if it's kind of like as we go into the new year and everyone kind of had these ideas of these things that they wanted to lean into and really get a hold of, and now they're beginning to start dealing with the realities of things, but the realities are kind of not realities because they're kind of generalities, because they're kind of these thoughts that really never have been really processed properly. And so there's this little vague kind of thing that kind of ignites your amygdala and your brain, and the lizard brain comes out and tells you everything that's wrong and why it's going to fail and all the people will hate you and it will be the end of the world. It's just kind of all of a sudden you're stuck and you're just kind of going like, oh gosh, 2025 is already going to bake in just like last year did. I'm going to be stuck in the same thinking and doing the same things and getting the same results. Well, let me give you something today that I think is key, because this week was a week of just dealing with fear and walking alongside clients and young executives and emerging leaders, people that I coach, and really working through some of those aspects of fear. And we kind of came across this collective epiphany. And just like I said, when all of the things that are going through our head is vague, fear can run rampant. Fear can really just kick in and tell you all these kind of imaginary stories of everything that's wrong and is going to go bad. But what I found is that if we can get into logic, if we can get into specificity, when we get specific and clear and really dial into what is really going on here, what do we really need to do? What are I'm going to use the word operationalizing, or setting up the behaviors, or doing the things, and really take into account what we feel like the steps are going to be, the movements are going to be, what the risks are really going to bring about, what fully examining out loud and putting it and writing it on a wall. I'm telling you, writing it out has been one of the big things. But once we started looking at it and analyzing it and bringing logic into it, it moves from the amygdala, which is that part of your brain where the lizard brain lives, to the prefrontal cortex, which is where logic lives and decision making and higher levels, executive functions live. It's so funny how it all of a sudden, that fear evaporated. It just went away. And so the question I have for you is, are you fully processing and really logically assessing all of the things that you're contemplating quitting right now? All the things that you're thinking about giving up on? All the things that you're thinking of, maybe this isn't the year? Because I want to challenge you to really get it out, get it on paper, get it on a wall. Now, I'm known as the Post-it note guy who puts these giant Post-it notes on the wall, and we write things. If you walk into one of my clients, you'll see Post-it notes hanging all over. A lot of people laugh because they go, you must work with Kevin West, because we have them all over the place. But I do feel like the invisible behind all that is articulation. It is the logic that we put in place when we take step by step towards working those things. And I love this about how I work with my clients, because I use the words logic thread a lot. I always say, what's the logic thread in terms of how we're attacking this specific thing? What's the framework? Can we visualize it? Can we operationalize it? Can we assess it through the lens of what are the real ramifications of the decisions we're making in the day to day? And sometimes for some executives, it's like, yes, I think I do need to have a conversation. Here's how I'm going to articulate this conversation. I have a problem working with a colleague. I am going to get all this on paper, really assess that, and then really and actually just verbalize it, but then I actually actualize it in writing and share them with it in terms of something that I've printed off, so that we're both on the same page about what I'm feeling and thinking. Fear just goes way, way, way down. And I feel like right now, I'm just, especially this week with Like I just saw all of the craziness over tariffs and everyone losing their minds, and everyone knows who's going to do and how they're going to do it. And they are spitting a lot of vagueness out there without really any specificity, because they don't have any intimate knowledge of what's going on. They're pontificating about all the conditions, and it just casts fear. And so I just want to challenge you, do due diligence. If you're affected by the tariffs, you can do due diligence. You can look at what your current inventories are, what the costs are going to increase by. You can start looking at very specifics and things, get it all out. You don't have to run and go crazy and curse the whole government and all this stuff. It's about maintaining command and agency over your world through the sense of logic and articulation. I just want to challenge you. Dig into it, get it out, do some damage, and defeat fear. So with that said, like I always say, when you see the invisible, you become unstoppable. So do some damage out there and crush fear. Yes.